Bum ba-dum bum. Ba-rum ba-dum ba-ra-ba-rum ba-rum. Ba-rum bum ba-rum bum ba-rum. Cruella de Vil. Hi everybody. Cruella de Vil. If she doesn't scare you, no evil thing will. The world was such a wholesome place until Cruella, Cruella de Vil. I'm right now. I'm doing some fun, technically things, wherein I am, for example, promoting some various people here to be our co-panelists, and here they come. And isn't that exciting? I am excited. All right.
The mom, I was cut out as Cruella, Cruella.
My daughter, my 2-year-old daughter, is currently in love with this movie, which is like great because it's a good movie. It's not a great movie. It's just
Mhm,
like it seems like Disney sort of like got over their skis at this point. And they
mhm.
were better at animation than they were at storytelling. But I don't know how I feel about that judgment. They have all these little bits of the plot that don't really relate to anything. It's just like, hey, here's some other animals in the area, and here's kind of the little things that they have. They don't like build a world particularly. I don't know. It seems like a bunch of stuff. I keep going back and forth. Like, is this like bad storytelling? Like, do you actually want like a plot to be like perfectly integrated, wherein every small little side character like ends up playing some sort of crucial role in the ultimate climax of the piece? Or do you want like a bunch of like random stuff and characters who come through who have like their own backstories, but say like two phrases and it doesn't really matter? None of that really matters. I feel like I don't have a judgment on this. So that is the that is the things that I worry about when I go to bed. Hi everybody. Uh, by which I mean hello. We're doing a thing right now. Welcome to the Learning in Depth open house. Hello, everybody. Oh, I'm not gonna turn the chat on yet. If you have any questions, go ahead and write them down on a piece of paper, and then we can type them in at the appropriate time. Welcome to this Learning in Depth open house. We have entitled this "A Day in the Life of LiD." LiD stands for Learning in Depth because we're going to be running a Learning in Depth cohort from Monday, September 1st. Holy crap, the summer is done. All the way through to the end of November. And we want to show you what LiD would or could or will or might look like for your family. Now, some of you here, I can check from the list, are already enrolled in this. Yay! And others of you have not enrolled yet, but we hope are thinking of joining this open house. Or sorry, joining the actual learning in depth. If you're not, I don't know what you're doing here, but thanks. It's nice to have company. Wherever you stand on this, this is for all of us. For those of you who are enrolled, you will shortly be getting more information about how the program is going to run and how you can support your kids along their journeys. And for those of you who are still deciding, we are aiming to give you all the info that you need to in order to decide whether this would be a great fit for your kid. And maybe, although we're privileging the kids, at least rhetorically in this, maybe also you, the parent, because goodness knows that we have a good number of people who are signing up for themselves. How do I turn on the chat? I ask this question as if I don't run Zoom every day of my life. Um, Quick question. You have 10 seconds. You will have 10 seconds to answer this. How much right now do you feel that you know about learning in depth? You can type a 1 in for I know virtually nothing. 10 will be I have done learning in depth before. Go for it. Go for it. Go for it. Go for it. When you chat, make sure that you're chatting not to host and panelists. Pedro, you were chatting to them. For
Yeah, hi.
shame. It's fine. It's all good. Remember last time we did one of these, folks, when us, the panelists, were actually chatting really essential information just to other hosts and panelists?
To the host and panelists. And I can't change mine right now.
No, it's hard. Hard. Marcella and
Okay.
Danny and Hudson, you guys are also chatting, and Jason, and yeah, you're also chatting to hosts and panelists. I know it's terrible. Zoom is terrible at this. I'm not being mean to Zoom. Zoom is really great. I run a business on it. Anybody else? Tara, you are also doing that. Okay. Anyway, looking at numbers for this, we have, yeah, thank you, Tara. We have everything from 1 to I think the highest that we have is 8. Oh, so we don't actually have anybody who has previously been in Learning in Depth in this at this point. We have some people who are signed up again for it, but not in this group. That's good for us to know. Okay, so let me give some quick introductions. With me here, I have my very, very, very good friend and Egan scholar, Dr. Alessandro Gelmi. Alessandro, did I actually pronounce your name correctly this time? There's
Yes.
a first time for everything. And we also have the two people who are going to be guiding your kids through the Learning in Depth program, should they choose to take up our challenge for this. Our Learning in Depth mentors, Shelley Smith and Andy Wright. Okay, so Andy, this is not our first rodeo. We have done one of these open houses before, earlier a few weeks ago. This is something I probably should have known about ahead of time. Is this the same thing?
No, it is not the same thing. If you wanted to see Shelley and I wax poetic about our topics, you may be a little sad, but there is a recording of that prior open house, and you can go and see that, and we will pop a link down in the chat for you in a bit. But today, we wanted to, since the cohort is going to start very soon, we wanted to go through a little bit more about uh, kind of what it's going to look like to actually be in the cohort, what kind of things you're going to be doing, and kind of show you some of that. But before we get into that, I want to talk a little bit about what we are going to be doing today. I'll just give you a little rundown. I think Shelley has a slide for this, but we're going to first sort of introduce ourselves a little bit, and then we're going to talk about some teensy tiny problems in education that some of us might be facing. I'm sure no
Really,
one
really
faces.
minor, really minor.
Yes, nothing big at all, nothing existential. Don't worry. But yeah, so some problems with education. We're going to talk a little bit about what is this version of LiD, because some of you may have heard that LiD has been run before, and it has, but what we're doing is quite a bit different now. I think it's changed a bit as we've developed it, and so things are different, and we're going to share what those differences are. Alessandro is going to talk a little bit about where LiD came from and sort of what are the educational roots of LiD. And then I'm going to talk you through what your first day might look like and what a week might look like, and then show you some of our, the first things you're going to see when you enter the cohort. And then Shelley's going to give you more of a peek at what, like we're going to be running it on spoilers, Google Classroom, what that will look like and what the sort of longer term things that you'll be doing with LiD will look like. And yeah, and then at the end, we're going to give some information about how you can enroll, and we're going to answer your questions, most importantly, because I'm sure a lot of you have questions. Now, Brandon, can you tell us a little bit more about this website? We've got a
Yeah.
website.
Yeah, and I should actually say, most importantly, if you have checked out our website before, it is learningindepth.quest. I know we picked a good name for that. Shelley, thank you for sort of spearheading that one. You already know, or sorry, if you already know that you all want to enroll, you can do that right now. You don't need to wait. All you have to do is go to learningindepth.quest, click on the Enroll Now button. Boop, boop, boop. It'll whisk you down like a magic carpet to the bottom for the payment options. You have the options of doing a one-time payment of $289, that is USD, or $109 per month, that is also USD. Be weird if the second one wasn't from this. You can click either of those. They will then whisk you to the Science is Weird page, because we're running this financially right now through Science is Weird. And you will be able to sign up for this. Yes, that is a thing that you can do that is more important than maybe anything else that we say with this. The first learner in a family is $289. Every additional learner is $90 each. We do this because we really want to encourage whole families or whole segments of whole families to sign up for this because learning is better when it's together. Ooh, it almost rhymes. I should say that this is a discounted rate for our fall cohort because it's the first time that we are offering learning in depth in this 12-week long format. We are planning to cut off some or to answer in advance some of the questions that I bet people are going to be asking later. We are planning to run this again in winter and then again in spring, but we presume that the price is going to go up for this. We are giving a discount right now because it is the first time that we are doing this version of that. We'll talk a bit more about the other versions and feel free to ask questions about all of those. Okay, crucial, super important note. Enrollment does not continue indefinitely, and that is because the course starts on September 1st, which we're speaking right now is, yes, this next Monday. What is that, 6 days from today? 5 days from today. I don't know how to count numbers. Other things, but not the numbers. Because of that, and because there's a bunch of work that we need to do on our end to get people ready for this, enrollment for this course actually closes tomorrow. It closes on Thursday, the 28th of August. It closes specifically at 5 p.m. Eastern Time in the United States. Eastern Standard Time, stupid Benjamin Franklin. It's Pacific, that's 2 p.m. Pacific. Okay. I want to clap for myself. I always suck at actually giving the most important information. So we've front-ended this. So yes. Okay. I'm going to ask the team to introduce themselves and tell us a bit about how they got to be involved in the Learning in Depth program. I'll go first. I'm Brandon Hendrickson. I'm the founder of Science is Weird. I am a homeschooling father of 3. I have just come off of running this really intensive series of workshops on Egan education and what that can look like in homeschooling from first grade through middle school. Last summer, Alessandro and I put our noses against an almost literal grindstone to develop the very first version of Learning in Depth in this sort of new digital format that ran as a 6-week long horror show. It wasn't that bad. It was just so packed, and we knew it would be, but we didn't know how much it would be. I'm contradicting myself, but this expresses what it was actually like to be in this. Because it was so packed and because we had other things in our lives to do, like, for example, one of us had to write a doctoral dissertation. I won't say who it was. I'll let y'all guess. And because we were so packed with that, it turns out, totally failed at like helping out the people when they ran inevitably into problems, doing the pokes, doing the challenges and all of that sort of thing. Into that fray stepped 2 of the participants, Shelley and Andy, who, for no glory, no pay or anything like that, jumped in and started helping people. That is why we chose them for the next year-long, an 8-month-long cohort that we did over this last year. We brought them in to be mentors for new students. And ever since then, the 4 of us have been developing and refining this whole program together. I am really excited about what this thing is and where we have brought this thing at this point. But you should know that on a day-to-day basis, you will not see my face in the community. That's going to be Shelley and Andy, and they're going to be supported by Alessandro. So I'm sorry. Alessandro, can I just do a really quick introduction?
Please.
Okay, so Alessandro and I have been friends for more than 2 years ago, and like, I don't know, like something quasi like best friends, like maybe ambiguously a year or something like that. Alessandro which is why it makes it so galling that I didn't know how to pronounce his last name until like last week. Dr. Alessandro Gelmi is an expert in this particular paradigm of education, but that is because he is an expert in, frankly, every paradigm of education because he has an actual PhD in educational philosophy. I think, and this is speaking honestly and frankly, and this might get me in trouble. I know I know an atypical number of amazing teachers. I think that Alessandro may actually be the greatest all around teacher that I have ever met. Alessandro, can you tell us a bit about yourself and your role in this program?
Well, the only reasonable answer would be no after this amazing introduction. How can I say something meaningful? But I'll try. Well, first of all, I'd like you to give you a bit of background to help you imagining where I am now. So, okay, I'm in Italy, but you don't have to imagine the Pisa Tower or Venice or ancient Rome. I am actually in the northern part of Italy, near the borders with Switzerland and Austria. So it's a German-speaking part of Italy. Yes, there is a German-speaking part of Italy, and my wife and her family is one part of the German-speaking indigenous people here. So, but actually, I come from the south, from the city of Naples, where the peak of Western civilization has been reached without any shadow of doubt when pizza margherita was invented, right? And somebody had the idea to put tomato, mozzarella, and basil together and make absolute poetry. Of course, I'm also interested almost as much into education. Egan's ideas is what I work on, especially in teacher professional development. So what I try to do basically is to share this idea of re-enchanting, revitalize, rehumanize the curriculum with teachers and observe and support the transformative processes that these can trigger in teachers, in the classroom, in the school as a whole. Learning in depth is a big part of this for me. It's one of the main programs that I share with schools. Currently, I'm running an Italian learning in depth project with 500 students in my region, but I've been doing this for several years now. And usually I follow the kids as a mentor, but also I support the teachers, right? As a mentor of mentors. And this is my role. This is my role also in this cohort. And I have to say, I've been lucky enough to have two mentors to support and mentor, like Andy and Shelley. And they are, I mean, not only amazing people, not only smart and dedicated to Egan's idea, but they're also capable of developing them in a creative way so far. So they are two people that I will entrust any LiD cohort to with all my heart. So now I leave the floor to them. And out of pure Italian chivalry, let's start with Shelley. So why don't you tell a bit more about yourself?
Thanks, Alessandro. So yes, my name is Shady Smith. I am a homeschooling mom of two kids. I've got two boys, ages now 9 and 11. On the side, I've got my own business doing copywriting and website design, but recently my business has become LiD. I'm really delighted to be serving families in this program. Because for me, LiD just feels like the perfect mix of everything I love about life. So many, many years ago, I trained as a school teacher, but life led me down a few related paths. I got into adult literacy, then into textbook writing, online learning, and now into learning in depth and Egan education. So as you can hear, or maybe you can hear, but I live in South Africa, my accent. Have you got a picture of Joburg? There we go. It's not as pretty as Italy, although that sounds, and yeah, that's a little prettier. Uh, you've gotten a prettier part of my dear Josie. Um, it's such a cool place to live. We love living in South Africa and exploring South Africa. We do lots of holidays and little trips away because we homeschool, and so we can really travel around. We've also been to our neighboring country of Zimbabwe, where you can perhaps see on Brandon's map there. So it was quite fitting that my random topic was exploration, and it still is exploration. I will still carry on with that topic. I also have a family band called Tuesday Chaos. And honestly, it's like my favorite thing ever that I get to make music with my family. And I even get to be the lead singer. It's really amazing. And play electric guitar. I just feel so cool. My kids probably don't agree, but they still play with me. So the older son is on the drums, and my younger son is on the bass. We've bought him a little mini bass. And my husband plays electric guitar, also lead guitar. He plays more difficult guitar stuff. Yeah, so I'll be one of the mentors for this fall 2025 LiD Quest. And my co-mentor is the amazing Andy Wright. It has been so much fun to collaborate with Andy over the last year. He just, I think, yes, we have also become good friends through our LiD journey together, and guiding the last cohort through and developing this program. We've all four become really good friends through this learning journey, and I think that's one of the cool things about LiD and about learning together is that you build these connections and yeah, just these intellectual connections between people. So that's what's in store for you and your kids if you enroll in LiD. So yes, Andy brings such a valuable perspective as a school teacher. He also runs a LiD program at his school. And Andy, you're just so encouraging of all the LiD students. I see it all the time, and I think everyone will want to know a little bit about you. So I'm going to give you a chance just to say hi so people can get to know who this mentor is who's going to be guiding them through the LiD program.
Thank you, Shelley. And I think that she is, if anything, too modest. Shelley is actually Superwoman. So, like, if you know, if you're wondering where she is, she lives in Johannesburg and she does a little bit of everything, and she is amazing to work with. Like, just so much fun. And I think everyone who's enjoying this LiD cohort will also get to see how fun it is to work with Shelley. So fantastic. And yeah, I am based in Hong Kong. So right now it is the middle of the night, which it will pretty much always be when I'm talking to everyone in the US. And I've been teaching for many years now. But I will never forget when I read Brandon's now famous book review of Kieran Egan's The Educated Mind. And it really, it just changed. I didn't even know what was possible maybe in education before that. And I read it and I emailed him immediately. It was not cold emailing random people that I do not know is not something that I ever do, but I did. And that is how I learned about learning in depth and how I learned about everything, how I met Alessandro and Shelley. And it's just, I'm so glad that I came across that book review. It was wonderful. So yeah, I'm very excited about
Andy, where do you live?
I live in Hong Kong.
That's
Uh,
really cool. You need to understand that for everybody, for all the rest of us who don't live in Hong Kong is actually a sort of famous place.
it is very cool. It's kind of Blade Runner-y. You know, it's there's a lot of high rises, like I don't know, two or three times the number that they have in New York. Um, so yes, I do highly recommend visiting sometime, but I would not recommend running like things for the US from Hong Kong. That's a little bit harder, but still worth it. I'm so excited to do it. I just visited the US recently. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, and enough about me. Enough about me. I love role-playing games. I've got a mug here. $10 if anyone recognizes this campaign is from a 2-year RPG that I've played. But anyway, let's talk about LiD and who this is for. So we've listed on, I think on the website it says kids between about 11 and 17, but we do have a lot of younger students in this cohort. I think the youngest student is 8, and we have a number of adults who have joined as well. So don't feel shy if you are a parent and you want to join. Honestly, I think it would be great if you want to do LiD along with your kid because you'll know exactly what, you know, what they're going through. Um, siblings are very welcome as well. So any, basically any age. I think you need to be able to read. If you're below 11, you're probably going to need a little more parental support, but please give it a try. We also want to give a special welcome to students from the Davidson Institute Young Scholar Program. And we have a separate cohort for those students. We have an arrangement with Davidson, and they've been so kind as to promote LiD on their website. And it's just been really great working with Megan and Laurel at Davidson. They're fantastic people. So yeah, I don't know if they're here tonight, but oh, it's great. So if you're here from Davidson, welcome. So now this is all very happy, haha, great. But there is something I want to talk about before we move on, and that is sort of the educational landscape today. Uh, some might say the kids are not all right. Uh, Brandon, would you say the kids are all right? Would you say education is all right?
This is definitely my. Everybody has their own thing that freaks them out, and my thing is that the kids are not all right. And so I don't know how much you should trust me on this. I'll just say that insofar as you think that the kids are not all right, that Generation Alpha is beset with a bunch of historically novel problems that are big. I will yes and you. You asked if the kids are all right. You asked if education is all right. No, education is not all right. That one's really easy. But education hasn't been all right since the Stone Age, and then it had a bunch of problems, frankly, too, that just we didn't know about. I think that the way that I come at education is to see education as the potential balm for the problems that beset us societally. Among these, I would say right now, especially, is that the world is getting increasingly shiny, or I should say, screens maybe particular are getting particularly shiny, that people are figuring out better and better ways to, what's the phrase by Tristan Harris, race to the bottom of the brain stem, where everything that we have, everything that we like is increasingly controlled, not controlled, but fought for through algorithms by large companies and disreputable people who just want to make a quick buck. And the things that we are lusting toward are not things that ultimately satisfy us. That's one thing. That's bad. The lies increasingly roam the world, seeking whom they may devour. We are living in these consensual realities that are wildly split off from each other and are also independently stupid. There's a problem that we're like can't see eye to eye across these chasms, but it's also a problem that in any big fight of two different parties online, probably both of them are dumb, or at least their beliefs are absolutely orthogonal to what reality ends up being. And you know this, like when you actually develop expertise in any particular field and then you see how people fight over that field, you're like, these people, no one understands what's actually going on. What else? Isolation, insofar as we take Jonathan Haidt's thesis in what's the word or what's the title of his recent book, The Anxious Generation. Seriously, insofar as we take the bowling alone hypothesis seriously, like we are not actually participating in face-to-face, body-to-body contact with each other nearly as much as we used to be, and it turns out that maybe we were evolved to do that, and there are all of these downstream effects of this. If you wanted to think about problems, a lot of the students that work with Science is Weird are gifted and talented students, not all, but a lot of us. And we there's this particular problem that people who are gifted and talented have where obviously it's good to struggle. Obviously it's good that if you want to develop a taste in anything, you should develop a taste in struggling. Because if you develop a love for productive struggle, then you conquer the world. And a tragedy that frequently happens to people who are sort of natively very good at math and writing and whatever else, learning things from books, is that academically We don't. Things are easy for us. And so then, and we're told, right, patted on the head that congratulations, oh, you are so very wise. You are so clever. And then when we actually run into, in the first time in our lives, actual academic struggle, we feel like, oh, we must be doing this wrong. And maybe those people who were patting me on the head before, maybe they weren't right. And then we take, because of our innate cleverness, that becomes this sort of counterintuitive sickness where we develop an aversion toward intellectual struggle. I don't know. I could do this all day, Andy. Is that a good number?
Okay, that's enough problems. We're okay. We don't need to make everyone cry, into their pillows, like sorry, it's late here. It's morning at where you guys are. Hopefully you're not crying into your pillows. But no, yeah, I do think there are a lot of problems facing kids today. I mean, Brandon, you have a way of sort of putting everything into a nutshell. So how does LiD sort of answer these these problems? I mean, what are we bringing that, I think
So it turns out that everything in the world is actually shiny. It turns out that the problem is that we can't pierce through the crust. This is why we assign random topics or fairly random topics, depending on how you sign up, for learning in depth. Because if you just started with the topics that you were interested in, then you would at the end of it you go, oh yeah. Turns out that thing I thought was interesting was interesting. Haha, I'm so cool. But what you really want to do is have this experience of like, oh, this thing is so boring. This topic that I got, I know nothing about it, and it seems so dumb and dull. And then you want to pierce through that crust. We want to enchant the world, or rather, we want to show how the world is already enchanted. And when you live like that, you live in a totally different way. When it comes to stupidity, there's a lot of like things online that will say, well, the way that you can figure out what's true or false in the world when people are arguing is X or Y or Z. And like all of those are probably pretty good pieces of advice, but the only way to really get a deep understanding of something is to get a deep understanding of something. There is no royal road to truth. And when you actually develop a piece of expertise, especially in something kind of random, you will get a sense for who you should trust and whom you should not trust. You will be able to sniff out BS. And when it comes to, I don't know, like physical isolation from each other, we can't help with that. We can't help with that. Maybe I shouldn't have included that one. But it's not, but like we do a lot to inculcate. Inculcate, that's not the word at all. Incubate. That's closer to what I want. Community of people who are kicking around these problems and learning about something and falling in love with these random things together is actually a really good way of expressing yourself to
Hmm.
people in a way that can be really awkward, especially when as a teenager, as I obviously am. When as and when as an adolescent, like actually sharing facts about yourself can seem weird and creepy. And why are people asking me about these things? But the thing that you're studying can become kind of like an avatar of yourself.
Mm.
You can open up yourself to other people by talking
Yeah.
about them. And then the struggle
Yeah.
thing. Sorry, yeah. Go for it.
Mm. No, Brandon, I was just going to say, like, in terms of the community and that side of things, I saw Alessandro nod in his head as well. Like, it is something that we do inculcate. I don't know. Yes, we're not landing on the word, but it is something that's central to the way we are
Cultivate.
running this program.
Cultivate.
Is
That's the word. Sorry, got it.
cultivate.
Yep,
There we
yep,
go.
yep.
Thank you. So yeah, and like basically the process involves getting that random topic. We're going to send you some generally zany topics or challenges, and that's how you're gonna bore through the crust of that topic. And then we're gonna guide you to research and dive deeper and research the heck out of one aspect of that topic. And then we'll give you more zany challenges to actually create your own knowledge and your own interpretations of that knowledge that you've researched and that you've got. And honestly, our very audacious aim, is for you to fall in love with that seemingly dull topic that you got in the beginning. So we're going to be doing also a bit of a before and after kind of idea. There's our perfectly dull topics. And by the end of the experience, you will be the expert and you will put together a masterpiece. It's going to kind of look something between a TED talk and a science's weird lesson, but we're open to other ideas there. But
Yeah,
you're going to have a masterpiece.
we at the end, I mean, we have a few structures kind of in mind that we can help you to create, but really what it might be different, well, it will be different for everyone. And it's just if you were to sort of take everything you've learned and compress it down into one gem of like experience and knowledge, then that's what the masterpiece will look like at the end. And again, it
Mm.
will be different for everyone. But I want to come back around to the random topic bit. Why, again, I mean, Brandon sort of mentioned this, but like, does
Mm.
it have to be random? We get this question a lot. Like, Shelly, I mean, what do you
Mm.
like? Do we need it to be random?
Yeah, well, Brandon was sharing that list of topics. I'm just going to share it so that you see it on the screen. Like some of the topics that you could get. My kids are going to be involved in learning in depth as well, and they are so excited to get their random topic. And I know I've been emailing with a few of the people enrolled. They're also super excited to get one of these so-called random and the so-called dull topics. But yes, it's we've found through experimentation, and this has been borne out by research, is that when you get that random topic, kids often end up more engaged rather than less engaged because it's actually a challenge to find the wonder within that topic. And rest assured, Andy and I, with Alessandro's help, will make it our mission to help your child find the wonder in that topic, particularly in those first 3 weeks of LiD. So those are the topics, and I will say we're gonna do an opening ceremony, which we were gonna do in real time, but we've decided to record so that we can put a bit of fanfare and a little bit of pizzazz into it. So that will be coming to all of those of you who are enrolled on Friday. That will be sent to you, and you will be able to maybe even have a watch party, get some popcorn or some ice cream, and go and have a look at what are the other topics that people got and what is the topic that you and your family, or whoever's enrolled in LiD, got. You can make a ritual out of it. This is a big part of LiD, is to ritualize it and to make it something special. So I was talking about wonder. I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I want to hear from Alessandro now, because Alessandro has schooled Andy and I in wonder. Alessandro, please tell us about this grounding within LiD, of this philosophical grounding of the idea of wonder, and really just like the philosophical ideas that underpin LiD.
Yeah, well, I think that one could get it by listening to you and to your engagement itself, that wonder is a key component of this learning in depth journey and adventure we want to support. Of course, wonder can be easily misunderstood as something, superficial, like a kind of superficial fascination or a hook. It's much more than that. When Egan thought about wonder, he had in mind that complex entanglement of feelings and intellectual engagement that you experience when you face something, when you meet something in the world that really matters, that you can feel with your whole self that is important and is calling for you, that needs you to know more about it. It can be because it's mysterious, because it's an enigma, because it's strange, it's weird, like science can be, right? Or because it it speaks to you, it speaks to your life, to what it's morally and existentially relevant for you. It talks about her love, hope, desire, freedom, right? Or maybe because it is simply beautiful, right? It reveals a sense of sublime, of harmony, of elegance that you really desperately want to understand better and maybe even to be able to reproduce, to recreate, right? So these are the kind of vibes, let's say, we want um, to set in motion at the beginning of the lead journey. So we will dedicate the first part of this adventure to looking at your topic through a lot of challenges, pokes that are already way of doing research around it, right? And in a very open, divergent way, at the beginning, the point will be to collect these gold things, these shiny things that help you to look at your topic in a new way that, you know, call is calling you. And that's the origin of a lead adventure. Then, of course, if we stop there, it would be already interesting, but it would be just about, accumulating a pile of shiny, interesting facts, many deeply engaging, of course, but as Brandon mentioned before, the best way to cultivate your understanding about something is to understand more about something. So um, in this narrative, and narrative is the other philosophical pillar of the learning in depth experience we want to share with you. Things will get more complicated. So we will get to this second moment of the story where, okay, we have a lot of wonderful aspects of the topic. Well, we will select, you will pick some of those, the most disturbing, fascinating, scaring, beautiful, enchanting of them all. And we will go in depth. We will do some serious research. We will craft research questions. We will use, select, compare, and critically choose also different sources. So from AI and its limits to books, to podcasts, to documentaries, to comics, to it's a long list, right? And we will go deeper and deeper and try to find answers to those questions. And then that's the moment, and that's the third movement of this symphony, right? When you will be much more knowledgeable than anybody of us, definitely, about your topic. And you will be allowed through other kind of more creative and thought-provoking challenges to use all the knowledge you have acquired to express yourself, so that to tell about your topic in a way that's only yours, right? Because you have gone in depth and now the topic is part of you and you're part of the topic. And so you can create, a parody song, a commercial. You can imagine a startup, a business model. Maybe you could even create a cult. Like I would create pizza, for example, for Margherita. And by the way, pizza would be an amazing lead topic. We should add it on, but that's my thing. And then, of course, all of these will be part of your final masterpiece, what we call the integration phase. Now, I could go on for months, not hours, so I'll stop now. The idea is that there will be opportunity for those of you, educators, parents, who want to know more about the matrix behind LiD and the educational philosophy behind it, to have 3 or 4 workshops with me, so that we can delve deeper into the principles and the tools and the main questions behind LiD. So maybe you will be able to use it, to do it on your own, to tailor it for you and for your schooling, homeschooling, or any kind of educational experience you will be part of. So that's the main philosophical ideas behind that. And of course, I have to say that none of these ideas would make sense in any way, would work or could work without a solid mentorship. So this narrative arc, you know, that we will live together can be meaningful for you, can be adapted to your rhythm, to your pace, to your, inclination, only through the support of mentors. So I let the mentors here, Shelley, go more into the detail of how the mentorship will work in this adventure of ours.
Yes, great. Thanks, Alessandro. And as yes, so I'm gonna take you and give you a little bit of a peek behind the curtain of just our Google Classroom platform, where we're kind of in sandbox mode, sort of setting it all up. All of the pokes will be drip fed each week. So just to say, for those of you who are enrolled from a practical point of view, and sorry, before I carry on with that, I just want to say all of this philosophically, I don't think Alessandro said it is based on the teachings of Kieran Egan.
Of course.
I can't, we're
Yeah,
so
dear.
grounded in Egan's pedagogy and imaginative education. But if you are
Yeah.
interested in that side of things, yes, Alessandro, that's what you live and breathe, right?
Sorry, I took it for granted. Oh my God. Yeah, I left the the main source of inspiration of this outside. Yeah, yeah.
We've got to
You reach,
we've got to give credit where credit's due to Kieran
of
Egan.
course. Yeah, definitely. So sorry for
Yeah.
that.
No, not at all. I just thought just to so that's everybody does know that this is grounded in this amazing, honestly, like groundbreaking pedagogy. And yes, I think it will be wonderful. It's an amazing value add that we're adding to this LiD cohort that Alessandro is going to offer these parent workshops. That's a little bonus. Like if you're enrolled as a parent, that's your little bonus and it's going to be amazing. So yes, talking about enrollment, it's going to be through Google Classroom. So we do suggest that each learner, each student who is enrolled has their own email address that they can use to log into Google Classroom. If you're sharing one email address with multiple family members, it's going to get muddled. So that just might mean for your kids, you might need to set them up a Gmail address or something like that. So that's just something that you might want to do on the admin side of things. And to also just say that there's a lot of overlap with the Davidson and the open cohort, but the communities are going to be separate. The stream will be separate. So the sort of discussions will be separate. So you want to have a look. Let me show you. And I've just got a question from Dawn of how many people are you aiming to have in the fall cohort? We currently look, somebody asked us how many t-shirts would we order if we were ordering t-shirts and they gave us like 500 or 1,000. It's not that. We will cap it at 100 total. So you do need to get your registrations in. We've actually been quite amazed by the interest in LiD. So if you are interested, please do go and sign up. We want to create this mentor guided experience and quite a personalized experience as much as possible. So we will cap it at 100 learners total. That's the Davidson and the open cohort. So each of those cohorts will be like 50 max. So yes, do go and register, but that will be the absolute maximum. Then let me show you, and I'm going to just share my screen so that we can give you an idea of what we're looking at. There's our perfectly dull topics, which some people are like, they don't seem perfectly dull. They seem very interesting. So I'm glad to hear that. Okay, so this, just to show you a little bit of like, this is my teacher view. So we're organizing the whole thing into weeks. So each week you will get a bunch of pokes. You'll get one poke. We call them pokes each day, to just like stir up the wonder. That'll definitely be for the first 3 weeks. Will be one each day, but they're going to be quick fire pokes. And then over the week, we're going to encourage learners to keep a portfolio of evidence and then submit it as an assignment for us to have a look at what have you done. But what have you done for the week? But that's for us to support you. It's not graded. It's not we're not checking over your shoulder, but that's for us to support you in gathering all this research, especially in the beginning. It's going to be just a lot of gathering of lots of cool, shiny things. So, as a student, you will kind of see something along these lines here. So, we'll have the 12 weeks, as Alessandro said, those 12 weeks each there's 3 weeks of 4 phases of 3 weeks, making up the 12-week experience. And then we have our resource vaults, which I'm so happy with. It's going to be it's kind of a buffet of resources for research. So this is the resource vault. We have got things like Brandon's Reading Hacks course, which some of you have already started going through. You got it as a enrollment bonus, but if you click over there, you'll be taken to the Reading Hacks course over there. If you click on, we've got a document on everything that we have written about in terms of using books for research, and we put in that right up front to encourage kids to go to the library and go and find amazing magical books. Because some of them are boring, as we know. Not all books are created brilliantly. In fact, Brandon will argue that 80% are duds. But yeah, there's a whole document that you can go through, because we have done in past cohorts, we've done this in piecemeal. And we've now decided to put all the guidance about these sources in one document, so you can go through that with your kid if you're working with your kid, or they can go through it themselves. But this will guide them on using nonfiction books to their maximum. And it's not something that you will complete in the first week, but it's something that you will take throughout the course, and particularly in the second batch of 3 weeks when we enter the complication phase. So we'll have similar guides for all of these different types of sources, so that you can really rule research. It's one of our aims in Learning in Depth, is to find and filter through the truth from the lies and everything in between, by really ruling research. Okay, I think I'm going to leave off there and hand over to Andy, because one of the sources that we will be using is AI, and particularly LLMs. I think this is the elephant in the room, so we need to address this. Andy, can you just talk about that, please?
Yes. We get a lot of questions about AI. Some people are curious. A lot of people are very apprehensive. And I completely understand, frankly, where they're coming from. Um, and basically, we do have a lot of AI forward activities, but for every single one, you have the option to use AI or not. And we've included instructions so that you can basically decide, I want to get everything from books, or I want to get everything from, sometimes you'll be doing internet searches. So you can do LiD basically your own way. So if you or want your kids to not use AI, that's fine. If you want to use AI, though, we do have a lot of very cool things that you can do with it. And I do think it's just something that is so, I mean, it's a part of the world now, like it or not, it is going to be a part of kids' future. And I think that giving them the tools to be able to use AI in a way that is not just finding the answers, but broadening their ability to find information and to put things together can be really powerful. That said, to each their own. So, Brandon, I know this is a big issue for a lot of parents in the Sciences Weird community too. Is there anything you wanted to add about AI?
I would yes and a lot of the things that you said. I would yes Andy. that it is, I mean, right, AI in many ways fits into my list of OMG, what is going on with the world? And also, I use it every single day, and I'm better off most of the time when I do that. If you're if you're wanting to, if you're worried about it for your kids, it may be worthwhile to teach them how to do it wisely and well. If you are interested in the question of the environmental costs of it, on my blog, The Lost Tools of Learning, we actually had a conversation about this AI in the environment, and I specifically wrote about, that's a picture of me. I wrote about, or I linked to a copy of a good, very numerical blog post about this that went through and actually tried to contextualize what some of these numbers you hear are. There are other things to worry about, and you are your own parent for your kids, and we won't tell you how to parent, and we will work with you to make sure that this can work for your kids. However, if you're interested in teaching your kids how to use AI really wonderfully and safely and accurately, we are here for you too. We've talked a lot about a lot of things. Frankly, good job for us. I feel like we are very efficient today. We haven't, though, maybe talked about one of the most important issues of all, which is like, what is this like for a student or a parent who's taking this on a daily or weekly basis? Shelley, do you want to take a crack at that?
Yeah, okay, cool, cool. So let me share my screen again. Um, and also I'm going to, Andy, why don't you just post in our email address? You can send any questions to hello@learningindepth.quest. I am, oh, let me just see, I'm sharing the whole screen. Don't need to share the whole screen. Um, yeah. So if you have any questions, I am going to be sending emails to just get your emails of which accounts that you want for the Google Classroom. So that will be coming. But if you have any questions, please feel free to email hello@learningindepth.quest and we will sort you out. But do know there's information is in the pipeline and coming along, but you don't have to wait for us. So yeah, so um you'll get informed about a poke like this. So you'll have this classwork tab, and in the classwork tab, it's basically your agenda. And this is where you'll get drip fed your daily pokes. And these will be questions that you will paste or put basically a quick answer. And I say paste because on the side, you will also have however you want to keep track of your research. So if ideally it's a Google Doc because we're in the Google sphere, keep track of that there. You can put all, if you're using AI, you can paste great AI results you get. If you come up with a list of questions that you do in what we call the question game in 5 minutes, write down all the questions you can come up with. Go and put all that in that document. So and then we will have a look at that at the end of the week. So on a day-to-day basis, you're going to be doing those questions, posting those answers, seeing your classmates' answers on their topics. And then we've also got the stream tab over here. So Andy and I have been testing out. So we'll be posting a lot of the times mentorship posts here to check in with you as a class and start these kinds of threads. It's one of the ways that we will build community, and then you will answer that and you can comment on your classmates' comments and use this to get support on in the bigger class. A lot of people are asking about meetups and live meetups. So we do offer that, but the live meetups are very much a add-on, and we'll put that in our calendar. They're just an add-on, just an extra experience to get together for an hour. We're offering them fortnightly, but we are going to offer a few different options. So we're going to offer it will end up being weekly, but depending on your time zone, I'm sure you're going to find ones that suit you or are in the middle of the night. So we're trying to cover all time zones, cover like most schedules that we can, and just understand we are doing our best with that. But also you will have the stream here to connect asynchronously there will be lots of opportunities to connect with your fellow students as well as in the live meetups on video. And we're also going to be experimenting with sort of live chats, but in text. So we'll have lots of opportunities that you could engage with. The idea is that you do like meet up once a fortnight to kind of share what you're studying. Um, so Andy, I think can you just take us through an example of one of the pokes that's maybe the first one, and then perhaps something that they would get a little later on. Do you want to do that?
Sure.
Do you want to share your screen or should I stop sharing?
Yeah. Okay, sure. Just a moment. Let me see if I can share here.
Okay, I
Yeah,
will
there
stop.
we go. Okay. Um, okay, so this is what, the homepage basically looks like. And then if you come over to the classwork tab, you will see a a list of assignments or pokes that come up every week. And this is just sort of a limited list. And basically, each day you will have a question that comes available to you. And are also going to include an assignment. And so if you click on this, it looks kind of like this. You will have a set of instructions for uh, the poke, and it kind of tells you what it's about. The first day, very basic, is just talking about what topic you got, how you feel about it, and then you can then if you go back, you can add your answer to that. And what we're going to do is at the beginning of every week, we will give you an assignment. And this is going to be a separate Google Doc for each student. And you are going to answer uh, a little bit about each poke in here. And this is where if you wanted to copy and paste information. So, for example, if you come up with a bunch of books after going through our books resource, then you can list all of your books here. And honestly, one of the best things you can do is take notes in LiD. So this automatically sets up a portfolio for you. It comes due at the end of every week, but it is not a graded thing. It is basically just a repository for what you've found. And each week you're going to get a new assignment with 5 new questions where you can place your notes, video. You can attach videos, you can put pictures in there, you can make lists of resources, anything you want. And then later on, when we go to actually do a bit of original research where you're trying to look up information yourself, you have everything you found at your fingertips. So that's kind of the idea. And then, so this is like the first day, but then we've got later in the week, in the first week, we'll have this poke about heroes. And again, there's a guide. And you're going to be looking for heroes related to your topic. And we give you some instructions about how you might do this. We will attach some examples so you can kind of look at what Shelley or I or other students have done in the past. And then just some suggestions of sources that you might want to use. And yeah, and then questions of what you're going to post. So that's pretty much how it's going to look. Um, yeah. Um, Now we've got a lot here that we're not going to show you. We've got some secrets, but yeah, and later it will be a little bit different as you come into the complication phase, but not wildly. I think the cadence will feel very familiar. So yeah,
Yeah.
Shelley, could you maybe help the students go through a little bit about what the expectations might be or what kind of time commitments they might need to set aside? Because one of the things about LiD is it is not something that does itself. You really, it does take some time. So how should students think about that?
Yes, I think that's good to note is that I think LiD is very flexible. It can fit within your schedule and your other commitments, but it does need to be prioritized. And we do have this 12-week container. There is something very powerful about going, okay, for the next 12 weeks, I'm kind of prioritizing LiD. And so we do encourage you to set aside a LiD slot in your week to commit to doing the work of LiD. So it is designed as kind of like a do once a day kind of thing. But that might not work for you. If you're doing like a once a day thing, you could like look at something like doing 30 to 40 minutes each weekday, for example. For younger kids, maybe it's too much. So you can reduce that. I think the key here is consistency, consistently showing up. Often once you get into it, you're like, wow. Like, I mean, I sat with my kids looking up milk world records once, and we probably were there for like an hour. I think my son was a bit grossed out when he saw you could spray milk through your eye. Gross. Talk about gross world records. We've seen some. So but I think if you can set aside that time either once each weekday, or you could alternate your weekdays and then do a longer stretch if that works better for you. We've got other families who are planning to do a LiD day. So, like committing Fridays to doing LiD. That can totally work as well. So, block out a morning or an afternoon or the whole day if you want to really like get into it, and then you could do all the questions for the week in on that one day. So that's why I'm saying it is flexible, but you want to like have that allotted. And I would just say if you do have, particularly if you're going to say okay, Fridays are a LiD day, but then say you go on holiday or you have someone's birthday or something like that, maybe just have a backup day. Like, so maybe the weekend is like your backup day. But now again, I don't want to tell you how to manage your time because whew, I'm a bit of a last minute gal myself. But yeah, I think just to prioritize and to just show up consistently. Like your LiD work does not have to be perfection. Especially in the first 3 weeks, we're looking for more like quantity over polished quality. And so just show up show up consistently, and I think you will really have a lot of fun with it if you do commit to that. So I think we're going to open it up. Please ask your questions either in the chat. I think that is going to be the easiest if you post your questions in the chat. For those of you who haven't enrolled yet, I'm going to post a link to the place where you can go and enroll. So you'll choose your pricing package there. And then as Brandon says, you'll be taken to the Science is Weird website just to make your payment. And then we will include you in our opening ceremony. So do register as soon as possible. So if you're keen and you're like, yes, I'm a yes, then go for it, register so that we can include your name, because if there's latecomers, then we won't be able to include your name in our opening ceremony. So yeah, we just look so forward to guiding your families through this LiD experience. So
Shelley, Shelley,
yes,
can we do a speed round, kind of a lightning round of different questions that people have been asking that you have been putting into answers in the chats, but I know that some people will be watching this as a recording. Can I just rattle them off to you really quick, and then you can give brief answers to them?
please do.
Is it bad if the kids don't think that any of those topics look boring?
I was having this discussion with my son, and he was like, "Mom, what if you got the circus?" I was like, "No, that's so cool." And he rattled off all these topics, and I was like, "Oh, that's so cool." Well, I guess that's why I'm a mentor. I will help you find the coolness in your topics, and if you already find these topics cool, I don't think that's a problem at all.
Mhm.
I mean, I think, you know what, for before and after, it's maybe more amazing if you were like boring to like amazing. But if you find them cool, that's cool.
When do we meet with students?
Yes. So we will post the actual dates and times. We've got another person who is helping us with meetups that are more West Coast friendly. I'm going to post those in our calendar, and you can then choose times that suit you. The one time that probably you can bank on is a Friday morning. Will definitely be it's a Friday early morning, 8 a.m. Pacific, and what is that, Eastern 11 Eastern.
Yeah.
And just to be totally clear, but those are optional. Those are not central to the experience, just to be right.
Yep.
Yep, absolutely.
When do the people who sign up get their topics?
On Friday, you'll get a nice fanfare-ish video to watch. Friday, you will then get your topics, and I'll also send you an email with it in writing as well.
How many people are we aiming to have in the fall cohort? Sorry, that's actually a slightly different question than how many people are we capping it at?
Yeah, yeah. So right now we're at over 50. I think we're at 53. So it's both big, and if you want to register, you need to register because we will cap.
And that specifically is though multiple cohorts, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So that's both cohorts.
So it's
So
something like 20-ish in one of them and 30-ish in the other one right now. Is that correct?
that's right.
Okay.
That's right.
For kids who are super duper shy, can they send direct messages to you and Andy?
I'll let Andy do that one.
Yes. Yep, you can send us private messages. You can, yeah, there's a bunch of ways to do this, but for each like question, you can ask specifically about that, assignment or whatever you're having trouble with, or you can send us private messages, and that's totally fine. We encourage questions about anything.
Okay.
I do hope people will grow to feel comfortable with their cohort. This is all just a learning experience. So I also do hope that people would feel comfortable sharing.
Yeah.
I think that's actually all the questions that we've got. So let's just give anybody else exactly 20 seconds to type in any other questions that they would like to ask us, including absurd ones, and your mark it set go. How long will we maintain access to the Google Classroom?
I've got on the website that we'll maintain access for a year, but obviously the mentorship only lasts for the 12 weeks. So you'll have access to that content a year afterwards. But yes, for that, for now, for this cohort, we'll stick with that. I might change my mind for future cohorts. That'll be the maximum.
Uh, and
Mhm.
you will be able to copy anything that you've done and then take that away with you as well. So, like, don't feel as though your work will be lost. And honestly, we encourage that. We would love, I mean, in my dreams, I want people to be doing this in 10, taking their LiD topic and in 10 years, presenting it at their doctoral, like thesis presentation. It would be amazing. Um,
Related to that, will learners have a chance to present their final projects to the cohort?
yes. Yes,
Yes.
it's not a must. If you are shy, you do not have to present in front of everyone, but you will have a chance.
Oh, we'd love to see it. And if you wanted to do an audio only one, you could do that as well. You could, yes, also if your masterpiece doesn't look like a presentation, that's also cool. But yes, it's a big celebratory moment to present what you have learned, that gem, as Andy said, of um what you've done. So that's in the final 3 weeks. We will prepare and then do those final presentations in a very celebratory kind of atmosphere. This is not, as I say, it's not graded. It's more like aiming towards your TED talk, like I think that's what we want to create here is kids who feel like they could go and take the TED talk stage, or that kind of vibe, that kind of confidence in what they're learning and joy in what they're learning.
What sort
um
of feedback are we planning to provide on assignments?
Okay. So we are going to basically we'll try to write written feedback for everything, and what we want to do is basically help students take the ideas that they've put down and then grow them. That's at least what I personally am aiming for when I am giving feedback. In terms of if students fall behind, I think we will still be able to give feedback to pretty much everything. I think this is something that will be easier to implement now, although it is a new platform, but I think it will be easier than what we had before. So I feel like even if you're behind, If you turn it in, we should be able to give you some feedback on it.
And yeah, I think it's really identifying that, oh, that sounds cool, and just really like a lot of encouragement in the way that that the kids that the students gather their information. Yes, of like dive deeper and tell me more about that. Yeah, we do aim to be very positive and encouraging. Oh, and also like, if they hit a blank or like, I don't know where to go, we will then also concierge them through like, oh, go and check out podcasts or go and check out our and like direct them towards wells of wonder or ideas and that kind of thing. So that's also going to be our role.
And then what happens if a student falls behind? Will they still get that feedback?
Yeah. Look, I think we'll extend the whole thing. We'll have like I think a mop-up week. So like a 13th week, which is the week of Thanksgiving. And so you kind of want to just sort of keep up, and there will be parts that you can skip as well. So if there's like a poke that you don't like and you're like, ah, nah, you can skip that. For the transformation phase, you'll have a choice of different creations that you're going to make. So if you're like, oh my goodness, the parody song is taking too long, choose another one that you know you're going to complete. So I would say try and keep up the momentum of the 12 weeks. But we will give you feedback. If you're like a week behind, that's totally fine. But we do want to balance off momentum with like strictness.
Uh, uh, this is an interesting one about will we be directing them towards resources for their specific topic? Um, I I would love to be able to direct people to resources for their specific topic, and I think we will be able to do that at the beginning. But I have a strong feeling that by the end of the cohort, the students are going to know so much more than Shelly and I will know about their topics that we may not be able to direct them to resources by the end. But definitely, if we can and if we know things, we will definitely try to direct them to resources, new directions for research, anything that we think would be super interesting to see. That's exactly the kind of feedback that we're looking for. We're not checking grammar here. Unless you really, really want that and ask for it, maybe. I mean, I do that in my day job, so,
What AI would we recommend? I think we typically work from Chat GPT. I know that I do. Um, do we? I don't think at the present we do anything with Perplexity or like specifically with Perplexity or with any of the other AIs. Am I correct about that?
No, we mainly are using ChatGPT and Claude if you want to would be a similar kind of just and then Andy, you use Poe, right? Which is a
Yeah, I use Poe, which involves it's basically an API that calls on all of the major the major LLMs. So I personally like Claude a lot. I think they're less likely to build an AI that takes over the entire world. But really, if any of the leading LLMs are fine. You can get by with most of them. Poe is pretty good. I have used Perplexity actually for my lit research, and it was pretty good as well.
and of course Google Gemini again. We were in the Google sphere. Someone's just commented Google Gemini as well. So yeah, I suppose we're not like specific on one, but our Brandon and my choice certainly is ChatGPT at the moment. But my husband always tells me, Claude is better. So yeah,
Religious
it's
arguments.
yes, you know.
All right, then that's the end of the question. So let's go. Everybody think is that okay, team? If we have this?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Sorry we went over. You know what? 20 minutes over for us. We've done well. Thank you, everyone, for thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for your wonderful questions. If there are questions that we haven't covered, please hello@learninginDepth.quest and we will send you an answer. Hope to see you in the cohort. We're so excited.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
to this. A pleasure to have you talking about this with us.
Cool.
Toodles!
Bye.
Bye-bye.